Local presentation of Read About It is made possible in part by a grant from Cox Communications of Oklahoma City, proud sponsor of this effort to promote reading, education, and literacy in our community. The following public service program is brought to you by the Metropolitan Library System. And now, Read About It with your host, B.J. Williams.
We have a great show for you today. Bob Burke will be talking about his biography of Larry Derryberry, and Bill Young will be telling us about Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma.
And the sun is not sunny?
Hi, my name is Jose Jimenez of your Metropolitan Library Commission. You know, most experts tell us that if you just spend 20 minutes a day reading to your child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're also preparing that child to learn how to read. Check with the experts at your Metropolitan Library for suggestions on just the right books for you and your family. And visit us at our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
With me is Bill Young from the Oklahoma Department of Libraries, which is one of the many sponsors of Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma. And I'm just going to ask you, Bill, what is Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma?
Hey, BJ. Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma is a statewide reading and discussion program. The Oklahoma Department of Libraries and the Oklahoma Humanities Council are the lead agencies. 20 other sponsors, including the Metropolitan Library System, and it's very similar to the one-book programs around the state where an entire community gets together to read the same book and discuss it. And in Oklahoma, Oklahomans are selecting the book they're going to read for a year, and we're doing it again. We had a successful first year, so we're doing it again. In September and October, Oklahomans will vote on the next book for 2005.
I thought that was an interesting twist that we added to it, because usually it's the sponsoring agencies that pick out the book and then try to persuade people to read it.
Right. Well, one of the things we want to do is highlight a lot of different kinds of literature about the state. And the centennial's coming up in 2007, so it was a perfect opportunity to make sure that literature was a part of that 100-year celebration.
Now, what we do actually is we do select 6 books, 3 fiction and 3 nonfiction.
3 fiction and 3 nonfiction. This year we have University Boulevard by A.B. Hollingsworth. It's a coming-of-age story set at the University of Oklahoma during the 60s and 70s. Letter from Home, Carolyn Hart. She usually writes about other locations. This is sort of her love letter to the state of Oklahoma. And our other fiction book is kind of an unusual fiction book. It's Walking the Choctaw Road by Tim Tingle. Tim is a Choctaw storyteller, and he has collected these stories from Red People memory. Our nonfiction books, 2 giants, part of that, Woody Guthrie, Bound for Glory, his autobiography, and Ralph Ellison, a biography by Bob Burke and Denevetta Davis, which concentrates a lot on his Oklahoma City years growing up. And then Letters from the Dust Bowl by Caroline Henderson's becoming a modern classic. She was a homesteader in the Panhandle, and her letters to friends and loved ones, the U.S. government, and to publishers really tell the plight of the American farmer during that period of time.
Now, is there any way that somebody can read all of these books?
Well, you can go to the website and look at excerpts, certainly, and find out more about them to vote. But sure, you can check them out, you can purchase them. The idea we wanted to get was to give everybody a flavor of these 6 titles and decide what they wanted the state to concentrate on for the next year. But we really want to encourage everybody to go and discover these great books.
So you said the excerpts are available on the website, which is?
The website is okreadsok.org.
And so you can access it, find out a little bit more about Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma, and then look at the books as we did last year. And then you said we get to select. So I'm assuming there's a vote involved in all of this?
There's a vote involved. There's an online voting booth, and we'll have paper ballots that libraries can download, and people can vote there also.
And that's just for a certain period of time, isn't it?
September 1st through November 1st.
Okay. And then we will make the announcement, and the programming will start sometime next year, I'm assuming.
Right. We'll announce it in November, and we'll probably be doing workshops around the state with libraries again the first part of next year. Right now, everybody is, libraries around the state are busy doing programming on the Honk and Holler opening soon by Billy Letts. That was the Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma book for 2004.
And she actually is pretty much touring the state, isn't she?
She is from late August to early November. She's hitting 16 communities, and we have her schedule up on the website.
So people can actually go to the website and find out if she's going to be at their library.
Right. She's hitting all areas of the state, so.
Yeah, which is pretty impressive. I think that many people are involved, and apparently there's all kinds of programming going on from places like Guyman to Altus and down in the southeast as well.
Lots of communities are doing this. We wanted the smaller libraries in particular to become as excited about doing a program for adults as they are about doing the annual summer reading program. And we've heard from Arcoma, Watonga, Guyman, all of these communities are doing reading and discussion programs where they're bringing people into their library to discuss this book that they've all read as a community.
Well, I think it's a really great idea. I've been impressed. I have read a little bit about this program in other states and other cities, and I think that we're doing, if not the very best one, certainly one of the best, and it seems to involve a lot of people.
Yeah, we're certainly excited about it here. And I think the Centennial is part of that. And I think the first book that was selected was a good one. And the author, Billy Letts, is very honored by this and very excited by it. So the fact that she's going to be visiting places around the state is just going to add to the program.
So really, at this point, what we want people to do is go to the website, again, which is okreadsok.org. Take a look at all the books that are up for selection this time, and to vote.
Right.
So anybody can do this.
Anybody can do this.
We're not even going to say you have to live in Oklahoma, but we would we would prefer that. And then to check out and see if Billy Letts is going to be anywhere near them this fall.
Right, and get involved in your local community.
That sounds great to me. So I want to thank you very much, Bill, for being with us and telling us about Oklahoma Reads Oklahoma. Coming up next, we've got Kids Corner. Rosemary Zarsky will be talking with Kelly Rhea about a great book for our young adults.
Songs of Power by Hilary Bell is a fascinating book. Rosemary, you really liked it.
Oh, I loved it.
And so tell us something about the plot.
Well, the plot is basically that Earth people have to live under the sea now because someone has made the land non-arable. Things won't grow that they can eat. And so she is, the lead person, Amina, is having to live in this habitat, which is a techie's dream world, but she's not a techie. And she was raised by an Inuit shaman who was her grandmother, and her grandmother died before she could complete Amina's training, and she wants so much to finish that training, and yet how can she? What she doesn't know is swimming around outside the habitat is a means of continuing the training if they don't decide to totally eliminate the habitat first.
So something's outside the habitat, which is under the sea. Something's there in the sea that's messing with the habitat then.
Right, because they don't want them there. They didn't mind them when they were just hunting, but now they're there all the time, 24/7. They don't like that, and they think that they're just going to just get rid of them. But there is one of this body that is very powerful and says, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. I don't think we're right to do that. And then meanwhile, at the habitat, things keep happening that they think are sabotage, and they are. And they're trying to find a human responsible for the sabotage. And they're only partially successful.
So you're suggesting that there may be non-humans involved in this story.
That's right.
Without giving it away.
That's right.
I see.
So.
And what age group then is good?
This is a good story for, I think, 5th grade and up. I think they would all really enjoy this story.
And we've talked about some Hilary Bell stories already.
She wrote, the most recent one is Flame, which is going to be a series. And then she also wrote A Matter of Profit, which was very fascinating in the sense that it also had this this struggle between habitats, if you will, the way people live.
Oh, well, we can't wait to read them. You can find this book, Songs of Power by Hilary Bell, at your favorite bookstore or at your local library.
Thanks, Rosemary and Kelly. Coming up next, we have films with Doug Benton, Elizabeth Kessler, and Shelley Ziegler-Hill. I'll bet you didn't know you could check out films at your local library, but here's one of them that you can.
So you two want to talk about a movie?
Yeah, I'm
Let's
ready.
do. We just watched one that Liz chose.
And it was Space Cowboys. It was great. Did you guys like it? I really liked it. Let me just tell you about it, okay? It's got, James Garner, Clint Eastwood, Donald Sutherland, Tommy Lee Jones. What more could you ask for? Those are really great actors. What happens is that they take these 4 guys, they're original astronauts, and NASA has to send them up in space to fix this broken satellite. And they're the only ones that can fix it. So here you are sending up 4 old guys into
Geezers.
space.
They're geezers.
Oh, but
In a
I really
way.
liked it. What'd you think, Shelley?
I thought it was very engaging. Like from the very get-go, you wanted to know what happens to them, and you're also you're interested in their character and in their past. And I thought that was a good aspect of it.
Yeah, there's a past relationship between a couple of them that is kind of mysterious for a while there. But yeah, I enjoyed it too. I think it's a lot of fun, and it was great to see 4 older guys get good parts in
films,
movies.
right? Yeah. You guys want to see a clip?
Yeah, show us a bit of it.
Okay, well, this clip, they had to run 10 miles in order to get into shape, and they just finished 2 miles. So
Okay.
here it is.
Take a look.
How far are we gone, Frank?
Almost 2.
Hey, this is going to give me a heart attack.
That's the point. What, to give us heart attacks?
Hell yes. Suppose we didn't make it through liftoff. The United States would be the first country to ever launch 4 dead bodies into orbit.
Well, if we're going to have heart attacks, you're damn well sure NASA's going to want us to have it right here on Earth, so let's get moving.
I'm an engineer, for crying out loud. I stopped running when Nixon was president.
Come on, your lady doctor's watching. Let's go.
She is?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know James Garner's got some old football injuries that have plagued him on sets before, but he actually got to use it as part of his character in this.
I just thought, I don't even think I could do 2 miles, much less 10 miles. So I think that was pretty good.
I thought all of them did a very good job in the film as far as portraying the astronaut aspect and having a human interest aspect as well.
Now, the movie was directed by Clint Eastwood too, wasn't it? Was this one of his directorial films? Yeah.
Yes.
And I think maybe it's kind of Eastwood light, but if you've never seen one of his movies, I can't imagine there are too many people out there who haven't. This would be a good one to start with, I think.
Oh,
Yes,
for sure.
definitely. I just thought it was just a great movie all around.
Okay. Well, the movie was Space Cowboys, directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Eastwood and a whole bevy of
others.
great older actors.
Yes.
Liz, thanks for bringing it in for us.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Doug, Elizabeth, and Shelley. Coming up next, we have M.J. Van Deventer, who is Director of Publications at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum. She'll be talking with Betty Price, who is the Executive Director of the State's Arts Council, about one of Betty's favorite books.
Betty, so nice to have you here today.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, and it's always good to have you on Read About It, and you're reading a spectacular book about Chihuly.
Yes.
And you've also brought a beautiful vase that is not a Chihuly, but was a recent gift to you and is certainly in the style of Chihuly.
It is, and I just wanted to show your viewers that there are some wonderful studio glass artists in this day. This is by Sarah Digdon, and she has a studio in Tulsa in the Brady area.
Oh my. Well, the book is absolutely a gorgeous book.
Yes, it is.
And of course, we should all know by now that Chihuly is a beloved person at the Oklahoma City Art Museum because of the wonderful sculpture that is there in the installation that is going to be a permanent installation. Tell us a little bit about that.
In fact, it is installed now, and the fundraising is going on so that Oklahoma can own this collection. Chihuly is someone who we all think we own as a person. He loves our state, and we love him. But when they closed the exhibit the first time at the Art Museum, people were lining up 2 weeks before to be sure and get it and see it. It was so popular. And so they have made a huge effort, raising at this point $2.5 million, and by June 30th, $3 million.
Oh,
and we
my.
know they'll make that goal. The museum shop is promoting Chihuly that month, and they're going to have wonderful original pieces of glass by him, lithographs and wood cuts, and a lot of other kinds of things that we think people might want to take a look at.
And Chihuly is a Seattle, Washington glass artisan, probably the best glass artisan in the world.
In fact, the New York Times said he was the most important living glass artist.
Oh, what a wonderful accolade. There's also another project that you wanted to talk about that the Nature Conservancy is doing.
Well, we've had a huge project of buffalo, painted buffalo for Oklahoma City, and now it's going out across the state. But what has happened is that Chihuly supervised children who did 2 Chihuly buffaloes, and they are absolutely beautiful, these beautiful jewels all over
And where
buffalo.
where can we see those?
One is on the first floor of the Art Museum, and then one is out on the rooftop, where they have their Thursday evening gatherings.
Well, thank you so much for being here this morning and for sharing a look at Chihuly, just one of the best artisans in the world living today.
He really is, and we're proud for Oklahoma City to have this wonderful museum.
Thank you.
Thanks, Betty and MJ. Coming up next, I'll be talking with Bob Burke. I interviewed him at the Centennial Book Festival at Oklahoma City University earlier this spring. Bob is a regular visitor on Read About It, since he has probably written more books about Oklahoma than anybody else I know. He's a local attorney. He has been involved in state government and also in broadcasting. I think you'll enjoy what he has to say about Courage Counts, the life of Larry Derryberry. Bob, why did you write a book about Larry Derryberry?
Well, Larry's been a friend of mine for a long time, and frankly, for a decade, I've been saying, please let me write a book about you. I knew some of his background. He was a very poor 4-H kid in southwest Oklahoma who a wonderful 4-H county agent took under his wing and made Larry into a wonderful speaker. And he, of course, served as our Attorney General in the House of Representatives, and probably is best known for being the chief accuser of David Hall when David Hall was governor in the 1970s, and of course later was convicted of some problems. But during that time, I was a newsman, and I saw that horrible part of our history unfolding. And so then I thought, that story needs to be written. Some of those stories that may never be told ought to be told in a life story of Larry Derryberry.
Well, it's a very inspiring story in that he wasn't just poor, he had some physical problems that he struggled with his entire life.
Yes, he had a very crippling disease called Cherie-Marie tooth. It is a rare disease that cripples young boys, and Larry underwent many surgeries, so he couldn't go out and play baseball. But he did the next best thing. He became the manager of the baseball team down at Altus in southwest Oklahoma, where he grew up. And I was inspired by his story, and I had known some bits and pieces of that, and was inspired even further after doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of his family and friends.
So that was going to be my next question. What kind of research did you do? But,
well, fortunately, Larry is very much alive.
Right.
You and I have talked before about the advantages and disadvantages of writing books about those who are living and those who are gone. It's easier to write a book about someone who's gone, because like in writing Ralph Ellison, hardly any interviews were available. Most everybody who knew him are gone. But Larry Derryberry has lots of friends in this state, and I interviewed most of them. And his sister and brother are still living, so I was able to pick up many things from his childhood. He's a real hero down in southwest Oklahoma. Recently, we unveiled the book at the museum in Altus, and on a rainy day, hundreds of people showed up to see Larry. But it's a very inspiring story of if you're poor in Oklahoma, that doesn't mean that you can't be the greatest of anybody in the state.
Yeah.
If you are crippled, you have some disability, it doesn't mean that you can't overcome that and do great things and become a very useful and contributing citizen.
Well, I was very touched by his comments when he was a state representative of the Department of Human Services, I think they call it now, wanted to transfer education for handicapped to that department out of vocational education on the grounds that they could get a lot more federal money. And Derryberry opposed Rader on this. He said, you know, you're my friend, but my daddy would never have let me go on a scholarship that said welfare on it.
Absolutely. Red Derryberry and Pete was his mom. So Red and Pete, not their real names, of course, but they were legends in southwest Oklahoma, wonderful, hard-working farm people. And Red would not allow his son to have a takeout, you know, any kind of a handout. And so if they had called that program, which allowed Larry to go as a poor kid to the University of Oklahoma for his bachelor's degree and then on to the University of Oklahoma Law School and become one of the state's leading lawyers for decades now, that would not have happened if Red Derryberry had known it had anything to do with welfare. So, yes, it's an interesting story. He had to go and talk to Mr. Rader, who was king, and say, Mr. Rader, I can't vote for this. And later in the day, Mr. Rader calls him and says, son, I appreciate your stand on that, and I understand completely. Don't worry about it. You know, they eventually did change that to another agency and to the Department of Human Services, which was the welfare department in those days. But Larry could not have gone for that because of how his dad felt about earning everything in life.
Well, and his stand on whether to run for governor or not, you talked about that possibility came up at the time that he was leading the prosecution.
Yeah, absolutely. What happens in 1974, Americans and Oklahomans have lost their faith in government. The Watergate scandal is happening on the national scale. In Oklahoma, there are these rumors. Jack Taylor is writing weekly columns in the Daily Oklahoman about that David Hall is crooked. And because of this, there's a loss of faith. Larry Derryberry was the leading candidate for governor in early 1974. But he made the decision later in the year that, look, if I run for governor, people are going to think that I've been David Hall's chief accuser for political reasons. And I think he made a wise decision. It cost him the governorship. In fact, I quote David Boren, who was elected governor in 1974, as saying it probably should have been Governor Derryberry that year, rather than Governor Boren. But it was not. And Larry made the right choice. And if there's any lesson to be learned from reading the life of Larry Derryberry, it is that not only can you overcome handicaps and overcome poverty, but you just got to do the right thing. Even if it appears at the time it costs you a great deal, you got to do the right thing.
Now, this is part of a series of books, isn't it?
Yes, it's part of the Oklahoma Trackmaker series that is published by the Oklahoma Heritage Association. There's a wonderful foreword in the book written by Andy Coates, former Oklahoma City mayor and dean of the University of Oklahoma Law School, who was a great friend of Larry's in law school and was in his wedding, and writes a very inspiring foreword. But it's part of, and that series has become, I think I've written about 30 in that series, but I think it has become the most prestigious book of, or certainly series of history books about Oklahoma, just because these are about people who have indeed made tracks on what has become and what continues to be the great state of Oklahoma.
Well, and I think approaching history from biography can be a lot more entertaining. It's always less dry and to read about an individual, and I think it connects you a lot more to what was going on.
Yeah, because I have a theory. And I love to write books about baseball and religion and the history of the governor's mansion and art treasures of the Capitol. I love those, but Oklahoma's incredible story is not about places and events. It is about our people. So I've chosen biographies for most of my books because our story is not about the land run, but it's about those hardy people who at the sound of a cannon strode off on foot or horseback, or some even jumped from slow-moving trains to stake out for themselves a new home. It's not about places and events, but it's about our people. So that's why biographies are so important in preserving our wonderful stories.
And that leads us right on to what have you got coming out next?
Oh my goodness, a number of projects this year. John Nichols, who founded Devon Energy, our state's largest company now, founded it with $500 50 years ago. It's a wonderful company. Now it's a larger, 3 times larger than Kerr-McGee Corporation. Devon is kind of quietly has risen to the top of the companies in the state. John's biography is called Deals, Deals, and More Deals. David Bourne has written the foreword to that. Herman Minders, his biography, a great philanthropist, built the world's largest flowers by wire service, Teleflora, now called Teleflora. Built that from a little apartment on North Classen in Oklahoma City 35 years ago. Robert Schuler has written the foreword to that book. And Lee Allen Smith's biography will be out later this year. It's a wonderful story.
And we'll have you on to talk about all of them.
Okay, we'll do that. A lot of stories, a lot of people, and a lot of stories to write.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Donna Morris, Executive Director of your Metropolitan Library System. You know, experts tell us it's never too early to begin reading to a child. If you spend just 20 minutes a day reading to a child, you're not only building a bond that lasts a lifetime, but you're helping that child to prepare to learn how to read. Visit us at the Metropolitan Library System and let us help you select just the right books for you and your family. And be sure and visit our website at www.metrolibrary.org.
With me now is Doug Benton, and I'm betting that Doug has a date and an author for us.
I have a date and an author. I have September 1st, 1875. Cast your mind back.
Does it have anything to do with Mars?
Yes, among other places, if I can get it out. It's the birth date of Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Oh, how neat.
The American fantasist, who is probably better known for the creation of Tarzan than for the Mars stories. But he was in his late 30s, had tried several different occupations, soldier, policeman, salesman. None of it worked out for him. And it's one of those classic stories of a guy reading a magazine and throwing it down in disgust and saying, I could write a better story than that.
And he was right that time.
And he did. For that one time, yeah. His first story was called Under the Moons of Mars, which is better known now as A Princess of Mars. And it was the beginning of a, I think, 12 or 13 book series about an American soldier who manages to be transported mystically to the planet Mars. Then later on, I think within a year, he had written Tarzan of the Apes and the sequel to that. And there was no looking back from that point, just one science fiction or adventure story after another.
Well, I think most people are more familiar with the movies about Tarzan, but I think even today, in a lighthearted, if you approach them in a lighthearted manner, Burroughs is just as readable as he was when he first wrote the books.
Oh yeah, he was a wonderful storyteller, had a great technique to keep you turning the pages. And they're dated in a lot of ways, but they're also a lot of fun in a lot of ways.
Okay, and you can check this out at www.metrolibrary.org. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again next time.